secretary, when in fact the education Abraham has, the district senator from Ika can only dream about it. He doesn't even have even 20% of that. We need to appreciate the quality of professionalism in our government of Kenya Kwanza, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Otsosi,
Mr. Speaker, Bonny Khalwale is just wasting my time. And I want to tell Bonny Khalwale that I am also learned. I have a degree in computer science. I have a master's degree in computer science. I have an MBA. I have more degrees than Bonny Khalwale. So don't say that I can only dream.
Honorable senators, honorable senators, at this rate I may require every one of you. Order, Senator Bonny. Kindly, Senator Otsosi, abandon that line of argument and proceed to prosecute your contribution and conclude, please. Senator Bonny, we are veering off the subject matter. Kindly proceed to...
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I think the PS for Foreign Affairs deserves to apologize to you as a Speaker of this House and to this House. Because in the ranking order, Mr. Speaker, you are too senior. In fact, I would have forgiven the Ministry of Foreign Affairs if maybe that statement was written by Prime Cabinet Secretary and the CS for Foreign Affairs. That is your level, Mr. Speaker, but not a junior officer in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We deserve an apology. You deserve an apology. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Majority Leader Cheriot.
Mr. Speaker, this is a very interesting morning. But first, the statement by Senator Mundigi deserves our attention. And it deserves the attention of the Education Committee because this is a policy position that government has played ping pong quite a number of occasions on. You remember, Mr. Speaker, that previously, I think around 2015, there was a directive that in the interest of saving taxpayers' money and that school teachers were actually buying school books at exaggerated amounts, therefore the policy shifted to centralized procurement system where they procure here at the national government and send them to the various schools. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, that policy appeared to be working initially. But a few years down the line, Kenya being what it is, and you know that we are a strange people with peculiar habits, very soon you found that schools, even without classrooms, Mr. Speaker, were being loaded with truckloads of books that they did not have, first of all, where to store, and even the teachers to teach some of the subjects, Mr. Speaker. But because it made a lot of sense, and you know Kenyans are never short of lofty words when they want to engineer a procurement project intended just for the sole intention of fleecing taxpayers' money. And therefore that policy shifted back, I think about 2018 or 2019, Mr. Speaker, and we saw again a decentralization. And teachers were allowed to buy and do this and the other. But after that, again, Mr. Speaker, we were presented with a report. And I remember I was in this House, Mr. Speaker, because this question is not the first time this has been asked. And we were told as a House that the reason why there was need to revert back to the old order is that you'd find that for the same textbook, one school in Kakamega buys for 500 Kenya shillings. The other school in Vihiga just next door buys it for 750 Kenya shillings. And therefore, a somewhat logical argument was presented and it was said, then why not centralize? So, Mr. Speaker, the question should be, what have we learned from this attempted policy of centralizing and decentralizing the purchase of school books and materials, Mr. Speaker? And what measures have we put in place? In fact, and I hope, I think he has since left, I had seen the Senator for Muranga, who's our chairperson for education, but nonetheless I know there are members of that committee who are in the House as we speak and as members share their comments on this particular question, is that the question they need to ask the ministry when they eventually appear before the House to respond to this question is, what safety nets have they put in place out of the experience that they have learned? Because it is an incontrovertible fact, Mr. Speaker, that there are pros and cons to both centralizing and decentralizing. The only thing that we need to do, Mr. Speaker, if we are a country that learns and makes better decisions out of the experiences we've had, is to ensure that we have put the safety nets to ensure that whatever policy position we take on these items, be it to centralize or to decentralize, is to put in place the mitigation measures to ensure that taxpayers' money is protected. If you put it all procurement to be a Jogo house, then let the schools request, so that you just don't dump them with books that they have not even asked for. There could be alumni that have donated, like I know for a fact in my county, Mr. Speaker, I organize a county-wide alumni day, and one of the things alumni always do is that they donate books in huge numbers to the schools that they went to. So you find that in some of these schools, they may not be needing the books that the national government is sending them to. That's why it will be important to put as one of the safety measures to ensure that the school must first request for those particular books, Mr. Speaker. Second and most important is that if you choose to go the other way, should the ministry choose to let it be handled at the school level, Mr. Speaker, then at least provide a pricing list so that the schools are properly guided and know that there is no institution that is allowed to purchase Kiswahili Mufti, if that book still exists. At least that's the best that I can remember, Mr. Speaker. And no school is allowed to buy that book at above 450 Kenya shillings, Mr. Speaker. That way we will safeguard taxpayers' money. Otherwise, if we have just an argument, Mr. Speaker, whether to centralize or decentralize, then it means we have learned nothing as a people. And I don't think that is what Kenyans expect us as a house that does oversight. So work unto you, members of Education Committee, when Ministry of Education appears, and please pass those regulations here, so that by the time this policy position is taken, we are well guided and hold the ministers to account. Then lastly, Mr. Speaker, is on these diplomatic relations between Kenya and the Kingdom of Morocco. Mr. Speaker, I will not get involved in the debate about what are the relations between Kenya and Morocco and what needs to be improved, what doesn't need to be improved. I know for a fact, Mr. Speaker, that we have enjoyed good diplomatic relations with this country. It is only up until, I think, during the presidential inauguration that Sahrawi Republic, which is a breakaway from the Kingdom of Morocco, appeared and were formally recognized as part of the delegations that caused a tiff between us and them. That matter has since, to the best of my knowledge, been sufficiently addressed, because it's not Kenya alone that finds itself in this challenge between Morocco and Sahrawi. The rest of all countries of the world, because these people, each time when countries break away from the other, they provide a diplomatic challenge to established nations. Because on many accounts, when you want to disassociate, there are challenges with it. When you want to associate with them, therefore, Mr. Speaker, I'll leave it to the experts of foreign affairs to come and respond to the question by my friend Senator Eddie Okech. But I hold a different view from colleagues who are trying to demean the work of Dr. Sing'oei. While I may not agree with him entirely in the process with which he used to make a correction to a tweet that emanated from your office, Mr. Speaker,